Thank you, Carly, for that illuminating and inspiring start to the event. My name is Jelissa Manzanette. I am a former GG alum, and I was president of my St. Jean Baptiste High School chapter. And when I graduated from college, I was awarded a fellowship, which allowed me to partner with a nonprofit of my choice. And because of all the leadership skills and inspiring events that I attended as a GG volunteer, I decided to come back and learn from all of you all again. So I would now like to welcome our panelists, E.B. Armstrong, Nikita Ramirez, and Nicholas Sookhoo. So my first question for everyone is, what is your current positions and how did your GlamourGals experience prepare you for your careers?
I can go first. So currently I'm an undergraduate student at Drexel University. I'm studying biological sciences. I'm applying medical school in a couple of months. Applications open in May. And I think GlamourGals prepped me for college in a lot of ways. To apply to medical school, you need to do a lot of volunteering work. And I was exposed to a lot of different sorts of patients with various conditions. I think just being exposed to that at a young age made me more mature than a lot of people in my cohort. Yeah. Looking forward to talking with you guys also.
I go next. Hi, everyone. So excited to be here. Currently, I'm a student. I'm a second year at Harvard Business School getting an MBA. After business school, I'll be returning to McKinsey & Company, where I was a consultant both before business school in San Francisco. I'm also in the National Advisory Council for GlamourGals, and I'll touch more on how GlamourGals has helped me in my career, but in numerous ways that I could spend the entire Power Brunch talking about. But I think the short answer is that it gave me early leadership experience and confidence in my own leadership abilities. Having started, serving as president as a sophomore in college of the Vanderbilt chapter. And also after this call, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if I can be helpful.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nikita. It's so nice to meet you all. I'm currently a manager of entertainment partnerships at Spotify. I handle advertising and marketing initiatives with our entertainment streaming partners, such as Netflix or Paramount Plus. But when I joined GlamourGals while I was in high school, it really taught me early on that I can make a big difference in this world and gave me that confidence that took me into undergrad and interviews and my personal life as well. So additionally, all those networking and leadership skills that really has prepared me for my career. So I've been involved with GlamourGals for over 15 years now, which is really crazy to think, but it's always been part of my brand. So whether at work or in my personal life. And now I'm on the advisory council as well.
Thank you all. My next question is for you, E.B. How would you recommend implementing the skills you developed while working with GlamourGals in an interview setting that doesn't deal with the nonprofit, elders, or caregivers?
Yeah, I mean, I have never done any work beyond GlamourGals in that space. So I can definitely talk to how I've carried it over to other jobs. So first of all, my experience with GlamourGals comes up in numerous interviews all the time. I still have it on my LinkedIn, even though it's been 5 years since I led a chapter. I think above all, the most important thing I'll emphasize is that I think it shows you are a compassionate, caring individual, and in ways that it's very difficult for other people to show. But getting more tactical on the actual skills, I think there's two aspects: your interpersonal skills and your time management skills that you can really reference GlamourGals for. On interpersonal skills, I think it shows this deep empathy that you show towards others, along a sense of responsibility to a larger purpose, your ability to interact with strangers and put yourself outside of your comfort zone, and your ability to work on teams, especially if you're working with others in your chapter towards, keeping the chapter up and running. On the time management skill side, I would say, everyone on this call is all so busy. So the fact that we take time out to serve an organization is something in itself that you can really emphasize, and how you make that work with your busy schedule. And side note too, I found GlamourGals is always looking for opportunities to support you in your leadership journey. So if you feel like you can take on more responsibility, or if you do want to step up, there's always opportunity to do so through the organization.
Yeah, I think that's very true about incorporating the interpersonal and time management skills in any interview setting that you may be asked about your GlamourGals experience. So Nikita and Nick, what was your first win or in your academic and professional career that made you realize that you were doing the right thing?
Yeah, I could go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Nikita.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if this question was for me and Evie or for me and Nick.
Oh, Nick and Nikita, yes.
Okay.
You could go, Nikita.
Okay, great. So as a first win, right? So there's been a few moments in my professional life that have really stood out to me as a major win. So landing like my first real job in the entertainment industry was really huge for me, because I knew then I could pivot into other roles as well within that, industry. So also finding a job that was able to move me to Los Angeles, that was a big dream of mine. So kind of having all these big pivots have been really empowering. And then being passionate about the work that I'm doing. So landing at a dream company like Spotify, all of these things are really kind of big for me. But I'm always really trying to continue learning and growing in my career. So I feel like I'm always striving to accomplish these wins kind of continuously.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think coming out of high school, I had volunteered for GlamourGals for about 4 years, and I was VP for 3 of those 4 years. And I think when I graduated and entered college, all those leadership skills really came in handy because I was in a whole new city. I'd moved from New York to Philly, and I had no idea. None of my friends went to the same school as me. So in the classroom, I'd make like brand new friends. So stepping outside of my comfort zone sort of really helped me there. And it helped me. Well, my first big win, I guess, was that summer. I got my first paid job. It was as an undergraduate researcher using molecular biology to study specific proteins in the cell. And sort of that gave me a lot of confidence because I would sit in lab meetings with people that are like 5 years older than me, and I wouldn't know what to say sometimes. But then I remember, I had like really wise conversations with people that were 5 times my age, like Carly said. It just sort of unique that we had these experiences when we were about like teenagers, and I'm like much older and sort of figuring it out in like professional world.
So Nick, you speak on having like gaining that confidence, but at Power Brunch last year, Lauren Berger talked about rejection, and I wanted to know, how have you dealt with rejection in the past?
Yeah, like rejection is like inevitable in life. You're just gonna face it regardless, especially in academia, right? Like you might get a bad test score. You're gonna like come back around and try your best, and maybe that might not even work still. A specific example, so COVID happened 2020. I'd scheduled my MCAT exam, the medical school admissions exam, March of 2020, and my exam got pushed back forward several times. And then it ended up that I had to take my first try at the MCAT a week after my biochem finals. And I like totally bombed, and then I was able to circle back and do much better at it the second time around. So honestly, just dealing with rejection in that sense, just perseverance, keep doing, just recognize what you want in your life and make sure that you're making good choices for yourself, and also know when to pivot to, know when you're beating the bush too much, or yeah.
So like rejection is like redirection.
Oh, yeah. In some sense, that's a good way to put that. Rejection is redirection.
So Nikita, how have you talked about GlamourGals in an internship or a job interview before?
Yeah, so I've definitely spoken about GlamourGals in an interview. Probably I've actually talked about GG in almost every one of the interviews I've ever had. Usually someone will, closer to the end of an interview, ask, what I like to do outside of work, or if I have any hobbies, and I'll always mention Glamour Gals. So I let them know, I'm on the advisory council of this incredible nonprofit that I love to volunteer with, and just give a little bit of background on how I got involved with them and why it's important to my life. It's a really great way to show how well-rounded you are, that you have all these activities outside of work, including, other hobbies that you might be passionate about. So even when I was applying for my MBA, Rachel was gracious enough to write me a recommendation, and I also wrote a small essay about Glamour Gals. It's such a special and unique aspect of my life, and I really like to make that shine because people are always really interested to learn more.
Well, that's beautiful. I think you've all developed a very well-rounded sense of yourself, and then which led you to prospering in your careers. So my last question for you would be, do you have any tips in discovering your academic niche and narrowing down your interest into a specific major?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one first. I was so lost when I got to college, and I took any and every single class my first and second semester to try to get a sense of what I wanted to do. And even then I went into my summer after my first year unsure of what to do, and even was looking at ways that I could triple major in something and still graduate, which I didn't do. It's a lot. But I would say that what ultimately I decided was figuring out where I got my energy, and what things in class made me excited to learn and continue learning, versus what things I found really draining and boring in lecture. And it doesn't have to be a particular subject matter either. If there's certain tasks that you enjoy doing, for example, if it's solving a problem, look into math or engineering. If it's interviewing others, you may want to look into psychology or sociology or something like that. If it's doing a lab, there's just so many science, it depends on the type of lab you'd be interested in, but, of course, science courses or writing a paper. So you don't even have to think about it at the subject matter, but at the, what you would be doing in that major that you're excited to do for the 4 years.
Okay, I can go next. Yeah, so I think it's really important to figure out your passions, kind of exactly what Evie said, but like what really excites you and how can you make that into a career? So it's important to think about what jobs or careers, you can, again, make out of these passions. So sometimes it's better to go a little broader with your major, which has like so many potential and opportunities, such as like business or communication studies. And then you can narrow down your work experience through jobs and internships. That's really where the bulk of your experience is going to lie. And then sometimes it's better to go a little more specific with your major if you know that you maybe want to go into like law or medicine. So just exploring these types of jobs, doing informational interviews are really great, trying to figure out what your passions are and how to make that into professional work. That's, when you can do that, when you can do your passions for work every day, that's when work feels a lot less like work, but more fun and exciting and something you want to be a part of every day.
And Nick?
Yeah, I think just echoing like what everyone else said. I think the reason why I really like Drexel is because they have this co-op opportunity where you can do work, and then I think my experiences at Glamour Gals allowed me to just work in a hospital and just be comfortable in those settings. It sort of like led me right into those experiences. So yeah, just try really what you want to do in life and trial and error. Exactly.
Well, thank you all so much for your inspirational and insightful advice, and all the best in your careers.